I hope you guys are good. The lighting here is not so great today because the sun is not out. It is a gloomy day, but I hope it's still good enough for us to chit chat and have a talk about something that I never really thought I would share on my channel, but Sila. And I finally feel okay to share this part of my life, not because I was ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed about the places that I've been, because everything and everywhere I've been is a result of where I am today. So as you can already tell by the title, this is gonna come as a shocker to most people, unless if you know me in person. Okay, not even in person, unless if you know me through my varsity life, like you know me when I was still in varsity, or you've just really been an OG on this channel, then this is not a story that would come as a shock to you. But I'm going to talk about how I went from being lesbian or being in lesbian relationships to marrying a man and settling down with a man. If you're interested in watching that, to keep watching this video to the end. Don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe, and let's get into it. I'm going to take you guys back to when I think it started. It started in the year 2011. I was doing grade 8. So I hadn't gotten a school in the schools where my parents wanted to take me. And the only school that I ended up getting, Nakwana, I hadn't applied to it. It's just that one of the men that go to my church, one of the respected members of my church, was a school governing body at the school, very close to the principal and stuff. So when I didn't get a school because I had applied late, I don't know how, my mother reached out to him and said, yo, ingane yami ayinasi isikole. And I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna talk to the principal. And but it was successful, and I was accepted at that school. So I went to Sacred Heart Secondary for the first 3-4 months of my high schooling career. This is in Verulam. So this was a boarding school, because I couldn't travel from home to the school. It was a bit too far. Verulam, I live, and my home is in Land. So my parents took me to go to boarding school. Very different environment. It was an all black school. The teachers were Roman Catholic teachers. They followed like an English curriculum, for the lack of a better explanation. They taught in English, the teachers taught in English, but the kids were strictly African kids, which was chilled. It was a shift of environment to me, but that was okay. I quickly got used to that. Okay. So it was an all-girls school as well. So if you have an all-girls school background, you already know that in an all-girls school, girls will date each other. In an all-boys school, I think boys will date each other. I don't know, I think. So basically that's how I was introduced to dating the same sex, right? So I was in grade 8. When you come in grade 8, so now you can imagine, I'm transitioning from a multiracial school to an all-African school shop. I'm transitioning from doing my hair braids, relaxing my hair, to ukunda shop. And I'm transitioning from living at home and going to school with boys to not living at home and to going to school with all girls. So I get there in grade 8, and obviously I am young, I'm small, I'm cute, and all the girls are very interested, very fascinated by Lily Fresha, Elisha. The matron that I had in my grade 8 was like, okay, so all the girls are gonna come up to you and they're gonna say, bayaqwasha ngawe. Drop it down below if somehow you went to Sacred Heart Secondary School and you are familiar with these words. So it's like, bayaqwasha ngawe, or wisichazi, don't fall into that. Basically, that is a special friend, but in actual fact, they are asking you out, and if you agree, you will become their girlfriends, and over time you will see they'll start touching and kissing you, and it's a special friend. Okay, that's our matron warning us, right? This is like the second day arriving at the boarding house. So we arrived, I think, 2 days before school opens, just to get used to the boarding rules and the boarding house. 2 days later, all the older kids start coming. They come check out the grade 8s. Okay, sharp. We're seeing all the kids. It's a bit scary. And then Monday starts, and you start meeting the day scholars as well. And okay, cool. So school commences, and then I think it was a Wednesday when I had my first letter. One girl wrote a letter to me. Hey, I'm so and so. She introduces herself. She was in grade 9. No, my first one was in grade 11. She was in grade 11. She introduces herself. I'd love to be a special friend. Just but she says ngiyaqwasha ngawe. But for the purpose of explaining what uqwasha is, they explained it, the kids in the school, the older kids explained it as it's just a special friend, the person that's going to be showing you around the school, around boarding house, because school rules and boarding house rules were completely different. So this is the person that's going to be showing you around. This is the person that's going to, making you get used to the place. If you have any questions, this is the person you go to. And I was like, I see absolutely nothing wrong with that, And I say yes. So she would come check up on me every single time. When I think about it now, it was weird because this is a special friend that and they come and check up on you, they give you hugs, they make sure you're okay. Like this person makes sure that you are okay, and everybody knows okay, cool. And then a week goes by, so I still have this grade 11 Kwashi, right? A week goes by, and then I get approached by this grade 9 one. And she says, I've been looking at you for a while, and it'll be no man get something like that. And then I'm like, okay, I don't see anything wrong because we're just friends, right? I just have friends in the older grades, right? Now, guys, these people, before we go to bed after study, so we had study periods, I think from like 5:30 to like 7:30 was a study, where you basically go sit in your class and you study with your classmates, and then there's a prefect in charge, you're not allowed to talk, right? And then she would make sure that to go to the dorms, the bedrooms, to go sleep. She's outside to say bye to me, and often the grade 9 one would come first, and then before I go into my dorm, the grade 11s are not allowed to enter in our dorms or be in our corridors, but like she's already there waving at me, like, these friends were very committed. And then fast forward, and then I start having iskazi, so this thing went on and on and on, and I had so many people up until a day where when I realized that I'm actually dating these people, they started kissing me on my cheek, and then the grade 9 one found out about the grade 11 one, and I remember, how dare you not tell me, like she was mad, and I had to apologize, So this is about a month in, and that's when I realized that, but I owe you more than just friendship, because the way you be acting though, But at this time, I've already gotten into it, and it's kind of too late. And now my other friends that are in grade 8 are starting to date other people, and it's just becoming a thing. Okay, I started dating and being aware that I was dating these girls, and this was absolutely a norm because there was no guys around. So basically that's how I got introduced to dating females. Absolutely loved it. It became the new norm. And then fast forward about 3.5 months in, one day, so my matron knew my grandfather, right? And she found out that I was dating one of the girls, and she got so mad. She found out that I was dating a girl in grade 8. So guys, I had multiple girlfriends at this point. She found out that I was dating another girl in grade 8, and she basically she'll say ganga, and she'll say tomboy. I started being a tomboy. I also started enjoying being muscular in my relationships, especially with the ones that I was in grade 8 with, I was the boy in the relationship. I started enjoying that. I started enjoying taking control. At this point, we are not really intimate. We are just hugging and kissing, But I do think had I stayed there for longer, I definitely would have been intimate with a girl there as a first experience. Hey, okay, sharp. So, mama, and then one day on a Thursday, my mom just comes and fetches me in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of class. She's just like, my dad is like, I saw that you're giving an istabani. They take me out of that school. I remember my girlfriends just crying, and I was there just crying. When is like, I saw them giving an istabani, and Salanga istabani. Hey, and then I went to Phoenix, and then life carried on. Fast forward, I don't really think I stopped dating girls. I stopped having access to girls that knew the world of dating each other. And then obviously now being in the outside world, now I was dealing with boys, and now boys were asking me out. So I kind of went back to dating boys, or being interested in boys, but that that was open was never closed. I never stopped thinking about girls. I never lost my attraction for girls. So I think it was genuinely awoken in me, that I could feel a certain way about women. Fast forward, okay, high school goes, and then grade 9, I moved to another school, a Model C school now, and then I was dating boys, also had an interest in girls. I was kind of just doing both. Here's where the story actually starts. Now I am in varsity. In varsity, when I got there, my first crush was a girl, and that's when I knew that, okay, it never left. And I was crazily, I wouldn't say in love, but I really liked her. And at that time, I was in love with her. Like, yo, guys, if you know me from like first year, you know who I'm talking about. I didn't know this was on phone. I'm on phone because we were always together. Like, and if you did drama with me, you looking at this video, and when I tell you that this was one of my most serious, the previous year I had been dating a guy. Previous year I was studying at KCAP, and I had been dating a guy, and it was going pretty well. This guy was speaking future, man. This guy was a church goer. This guy was everything, and I thought, yes, I was invested. This guy was everything at the time. Fast forward to 2018. Now I go to varsity. I'm still dating this guy, and then I met this girl, and now I'm in love with this girl completely. I end up leaving the guy, to cut the story short, and I'm dating her. Beautiful relationship. I think it was real. For the duration that it was real. To a point where I thought, this is it. I was ready to get married to her. Like, it was that deep. Took her home, but obviously introduced her as a friend. But my parents are not like, and plus knowing my history, and my partner, my girlfriend at the time, was very masculine. So I stopped taking on the masculine role, and I was very feminine. Throughout my whole varsity life, I was very feminine, and she was more masculine. She dressed like a dude. It was very hard not to tell that she's duty, she's tomboy, and she's lesbian. Took her home. Funny enough, my parents welcomed her with open arms as a friend, and they just pretended not to see what was going on, and life went on. Life went on. Dated her up until my final year, and then my final year, things just didn't work out. We just grew apart. I haven't met my current husband at the time, right? So as I'm dating her, I haven't met my current husband. Okay, we just started falling apart, and then I meet another lover. She's also female. She's even more masculine. She's even more dudey. She's a dude. She is a dude. Like, you can't mistake her for a girl. She's a dude. It's only if some books so all my life I've only been in 2 lesbian relationships that were serious, and in all my with the both of them, they took on the more masculine energy. So I was always the soft one, the female one in the relationship. And with this one, the relationship was the second one now. It was good. It was great. Like, I can't take that away from her. We lived in different cities. She lived in Cape Town, I lived in Durban, but we made the most of it. I'm not going to dwell too much on the relationship, because in the middle of that relationship, I now met my husband, right? That's when everything went. So in my dating women, I knew at the back of my head that I can't take them home. I have a very strong relationship with my father, right? And I knew with maybe my mom, she would forgive it. Maybe my mom, it would be a thing of, but my dad, I knew it would change everything. And obviously during the course of dating these women, I would make jokes to my dad. I'm like, oh, what would you do if I dated women? What would you do if I'd marry a woman? And my dad would literally go from 0 to 100. She's like, I would never accept that. I would never bless. He's like, I'd never accept that. I would never bless that marriage. You know, because mengabe uzelinga nentombazane uyayibika edlozini and then kufika isikhathi la iyagana and then uyayikhipha ekhaya. So when ngizokwenza kanjani ngizothini ngizothi asiphulethe umakoti. So my dad is very traditional. He's like into engenzeki nje leyo ngokwe culture yethu. So angazi ukuthi ngabe ufuna ngithini ngoba phansi angikhiphi la ekhaya ngenza ngiwelcome omunye umuntu wesifazane wakweza into enjalo. So he just posed me with questions where ngicine nami sengithi let me stop here, let me not further ask. He's like uningayishada nje lento yenu ngephepha but ngokwedlozi alikho idlozi engizolithetha mina naleyo nto futhi nama ngisobe ngayivuma into enjalo. Hey ke icaca ukuba ngingaqhubeka nje ngiyiphilela impilo but okusalayo into yaphambili ayisobe yaba khona. But I'm in love with these women. I see a future with number 1 and number 2. Number 1 and I have broken up, so now I'm talking about number 2. I see a future with number 2. Like, hi bo, uyangenzela number 2. Number 2 is very, very, very present, you know, did everything for me. Yeah, okay, fast forward, my husband comes. When my husband comes into the picture, my boyfriend at the time, if you know the story of how I met my husband, when I met him, it was not serious. When I met him, it was just for everything that he comes with. And I just, like, my friends always vouched for him more than it initially happened. As time carries on, no man, I'm taking an interest, you know. So now my girlfriend is in the picture, but I'm also talking to this guy, but I know it's not going to transpire into anything. Plus my girlfriend is in Cape Town. Fast forward, you know, now I really start developing an interest with this guy. I haven't told the guy about my shenanigans of being a lesbian. I'm just cruising. Yeah, go my foot. Until this one night where my boyfriend, then husband now, catches me. So it's a very short story. So one of the things that intrigued me about my boyfriend at the time is that he is very manly. My husband is a very manly man. Like, one of the things that used to intrigue me, I'm in 3rd year now in my varsity. He would call me at 2 a.m. Guys, he would just do these things that I just see in movies, you know? And I study drama and I see myself as a movie superstar. And he would just do these things where I'm just like, this only happens in the movies, and it'll just blow me away. This is 2020 now. And he would do things like, he would call me Ngutu. And it's like, okay, he said it. And it's like, I'm outside. And I'm like, immovably. Go to saying, you know, and we take long drives in the AMs. And funny enough, I enjoyed that. I think that's one of the things that made me like him and fall for him. He just was too spontaneous for what I'd been used to, you know. So this one time, it's like 2 o'clock, 2:30. I remember at 2:30, he calls me, okay, Pink, he's like, I'm 5 minutes away, and I'm not gonna say no to my man. At this point, you know, we're still getting to know each other. It's still very new. Maybe it's about 2 or 3 months in. And boyfriend, mind you, my room was not near the window, but the way that car was so loud, I would hear it before he calls me and says I'm downstairs. I'm like, babe. My friend wakes up. I had a roommate, Zandi. She's like, yo, Sana. She was closer. I see people so happy. And I'm like, Chomi, I will see you when I see you. I say bye to her. She's like, okay, girl. My security guard at rest was an old man. Yo, guys, lento yama principles no khulisa abantu abadala nokubahlonipha basabe. Sengiyanyonyoba ke manje rest ngenzela ukuthi umkhula kangiboni. but we've never had an eye contact situation where I'm like, I'd make sure that I do the best I can to like run away from him and not have him see me sneaking out, you know. You'd swear wise on labor, you know, like that's how much I respected him. May his soul rest in peace. He actually passed away on the 10th of Jan on my birthday, 2021. May his soul rest in peace, Bandle Njomane. I loved him so much. Anyway, so my boyfriend at the time, did I mention that I'm texting my girlfriend? Me and my girlfriend had been texting. So now, obviously, when this one says it's 5 minutes away and I'm packing and going, I can't now just say goodnight in the middle of a heated conversation, right? So as my boyfriend is driving, I'm still on the phone with my girl. We're still texting back and forth. And then he all of a sudden stops in the middle of the road. And he's like, oh no, I'm just going to pee. He goes and he pees. And I say, good night. I love you too. And I fuck my heart. Abuye ubafu angena emotweni athi ubalo umsindela amahathi. Umsindela amahathi, what are you talking about? It's like ubalo uthi uyamthanda ubalo umsindela amahathi. And I get the shock of my life. And it's like ngiyehlile ngajikela nje ewindini and ubhizi uyachetha because ngiyakubona namanje ukuthi ingqondo yakhe ayikho lana as we driving. So that's why I decided to stop the car and I'm just like shit. Ngikaze ngibanjwe into eqini kanje. Angaze ngibanjwe into engaphikeki kanje into ekuyiyona. And I'm just like, no, I can explain. And I thought that day I was dying. Mind you, this person angagamazi. And it's our first fight. It's my first time seeing him angry. I'm just like, uyongqoma. And you see Redo uputi, and he drives to his place. Sesilala makhona ke manje wemoto mayijik. Just like, oh my God. I'm even scared to text my friends back at race to say, yo, if I'm not talking or responding in the morning, something is wrong. I'm just like, at this point in Yembezila, saying someone now and try and talk to him, and I'm just like, he's going to murder me. We get home, and he goes downstairs and he pours himself a drink. I'm just like, I'm about to witness GBV. Jenna Besa, because who's slamming glasses and things, and I'm just like, what is happening? Well, also, I've never been in like a relationship with a guy, and I'm just like, this is how men act when they're mad. I'm just scared at this point. Where my husband used to live, his ex-house, there's no network when I get there. I was saucy at the time. I can't even reach out to my friends. I only have network if I connect to him. If I connect to his phone and I use it as Wi-Fi. And obviously, anyway, he's all connected and then he comes upstairs. Funny enough, he was very calm. He's like, and then I explained to him, and very, very calm. He literally sits down. Very, very calm, to a point where I was even shocked. And I explained to him what's going on, and okay. Basically, I explained to him it's a girl. And that's the only reason why he came down kancane. He's like, no, cheating is still cheating. So what's going to happen now? We talk about that. Fast forward, easily. And that's how I left my girlfriend. That's how I left my girlfriend at the time. And mind you, she was far. So as things started getting stronger with this one, I detached to this one. Getting stronger in the sense of I'm catching feelings with this one. I'm enjoying the relationship more and more and more and more and more. And then obviously the more I'm connecting, the more I'm detaching. And that's how it all happened. That's how I transitioned from never thinking I would be dating a guy, because I never had anyone before my husband be able to make me feel a certain way about them. Mind you, guys, I had my dating phase. When I was dating my girlfriends, I was seeing guys, I was going out, I really had my young, wild and free. But this didn't mean that I was sleeping with the guys. I wasn't sleeping with them, but I was dating. I was going out, I was seeing multiple people. I had men on my WhatsApp. When I wanted something, I knew like I had my typical varsity life. I wouldn't even sit here and be a goody two shoes. No, I had a guy paying for this, a guy doing this. I lived typically like that. Not because I wasn't affording. No, my parents afforded me everything I wanted, but it was just a thing of I have access, and go. My beauty at the time was obviously paying the bills. Not even paying the bills. It was getting me what I wanted. It was getting me to places I wanted to get to go to. Sometimes I find myself in sticky situations. I'd just be like, I don't even know how I got out in those situations. Honestly, it is God. And especially considering the fact that I wasn't giving up the cookie. I mean, there's no guy that can say I slept with them, or the agreement between us was they do this X and X for me in return of the cookie. No, I've never had the relationships go that far, but I would still be in places. I would still be getting things done. Like I lived a typical res life for the it girls at res. And I still had my girlfriend in Cape Town. Oh, I'm so sorry if you ever watch this. So sorry. But she was doing her fair share of things as well. But gay, that's not what this is about. And that's how I transitioned. I don't know how it happened. It took me by storm. And then all of a sudden there was this guy that I connect to. All of a sudden there was this guy that was in line with what I want. And all of a sudden, I saw my life moving forward with a man. I don't even think I saw it. My life moved forward with the man, and before I knew it, the relationship was getting serious. Before I knew it, he was coming home. Yeah, well, isn't it? We're just, and then obviously by the time my husband came home, my relationship with the Cape Town girl had ended a long time ago. I had just, broke up and just like, dude, just go on with your life. I go on with mine. It was great, but, and it took me by surprise. And anyone who knows me in varsity still asks me up until today, but when married? That's why so many people were so shocked when I got married, because if you're an OG, another thing I forgot to mention, I had a public relationship with number one. So the first lesbian relationship I had, it was so public, it was so, guys, to a point where we used to shoot YouTube videos on her channel. Yeah, I used to attend Pride. I was a full lesbian in the dating life, in the lesbian life. But yeah, God had other plans. And am I happy? Definitely. Do I regret my experiences? No. Do I wish them well? Yes. Do I still talk to them? No, never. Because I just don't think you can be friends with your ex. Like, what are you talking about with your ex? My husband knows everything that I've talked about. The only reason why I've been able to share is because I'm talking about the things that my husband knows about. I would never be able to sit here and talk about ex-partners and relationships without his consent, without him knowing this. So if you are going through a similar thing where you are dating women, don't feel judged when it changes. Stay true to who you are. If Impilo is transitioning to that at that time, it's not wrong. Our journeys are different, and you can sit and judge me and be like, oh, it was never real, or whatever opinion you have. That's your opinion, but this is still my story, and I just felt finally at a place where I could share it and share it as something that happened as a part of me, and not feel like I'm going to be judged. And even if I am judged, I welcome the judgment, and I don't think it's gonna change anything for me now. It's not going to change how I see myself. It's not going to change how I see my marriage. It's not going to change anything, basically. It's just going to be your opinion, and that's it. Yeah, I guess I'm just sharing the story to just open up about a can of worms in my life that I never thought I'd revisit, because maybe you're going through something, and maybe you're going through something similar, and you don't know who to ask, or you don't know if your feelings are validated. You don't know if being bisexual is a thing, because I don't really think I was lesbian, but I do think I was bisexual. And I've never gotten to a point in my life where I was like, I will never date a man. I just couldn't connect to men. I just couldn't connect to men. and I just really connected to women at some point in my life, and that's just that. I was also very, very worried about Christianity at this point in my life because remember, I am a churchgoer, right? And I don't know how God feels about same-sex relationships. I know my church is against it, but with, oh my God, I'm going to bring so much shame to the church. I'm not supposed to be feeling like this, but at the same time, God, I'm not playing. I really feel how I feel about these women. So these are the conversations that I would have with God, that I'm not saying change me, but at least reveal the truth and the purpose of my life that you have for me. Why do I feel the way I do about these women if you are strongly against it? Why place so much emotion in me towards them if kukuthi awukufuni? And I don't know if me meeting my husband was God then responding to me. Ngibuye ngithi, guys, mina bengiyisphiga, right? So obviously if you isphiga, you are abstaining from sex. So a part of me, I don't know if making sure that I abstain was me dating women. I never got to figure out that part of my life. But at the same time, I wouldn't even think about sex. I wouldn't even, like, God just preserved that part of my mind and temptations. I wouldn't even look at a man and be tempted. Even when my friends were talking about sex, it wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't trigger me. I wouldn't crave it. I just would not. So, but today when I look at my life, I sit back and I was like, could me being lesbian have been me trying to protect myself from men? Because I knew that being with a man, they'll require intimacy, you know? I never even got into a point where I had to explain to a man that, oh, I'm not intimate to get with men, it's just weird. But at the same time, I would sit and ask myself, is being intimate with women not a sin? I come from being very confused in my life, you know? And I think I'm finally at a place where I'm no longer confused and I'm no longer ashamed about where I've been and the things that used to confuse me. I think a part of that also has to do with the fact that right now I am no longer confused and I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing with exactly who I'm supposed to be doing it. So yeah, that's my story. I can't wait to see how you guys are going to take it. I'm also very scared. Not very, but I do have a bit of that. But I do hope that I get the courage to post this video. I do think I am going to post it because I did this video for me, not to be liked or to this video was solely because in my heart I felt like I wanted to share it. But yeah, I'm keen on seeing how you stars are gonna receive it. And yeah, man, my door is open. My door is open for my younger sisters that could be going through the same thing. Even if you're not actively dating a woman but you feel some type of way about women, my door is open in the comment sections. My door is open in the DMs. I'd love to have more conversations about this. I welcome questions as well. Excuse. Obviously, Pilla, don't be rude. Don't be rude about it and then expect me to answer it. Most of the time, I won't be rude back. I just won't answer. I'll just block and delete. But yeah, that was my story. That is my story. Thank you for watching. I'll definitely see you on my next video, but for now you definitely are a star. Bye.